Hello, Malcolm. Hello, MJ. What should I call you, MJ or Malcolm?
You can call me Malcolm.
Okay, that sounds great. That
Yeah.
sounds great. So thank you so much for joining the Your Insightful Voice video blog series. For those of you who are joining and watching and wondering who this is beside me, this is Malcolm Harris. He is the host of Conversations with Malcolm. And Malcolm, I have to tell you, I actually saw you on the page, on the Facebook page of a friend, and I watched your video and thought, I really want to talk to him for this video blog series. So thank you for coming, and thank you for allowing me to interview with you.
Definitely.
Yes. So I'm going to read a little bit about Malcolm, and then I'm going to tell you the purpose of this video blog series. So Malcolm Harris is an inspirational teacher, best known for his show Conversations with Malcolm. As I stated earlier, he grew up as the son of a Christian reverend and family therapist. So this environment ultimately helped him realize and shape his gift to reach people through inspirational speaking. So Malcolm also founded the Hurston Group, which went on to partner with BET, that's Black Entertainment Television, to develop and launch an online news and advertising business. Since then, in addition to speaking nationally, Malcolm has formed the Co-Creation Company, which produces the Conversations with Malcolm. And the Co-Creation Company is a multimedia and licensing enterprise that focuses on developing and marketing products that support Malcolm's core mantra, create the life you desire to live. I love that. I love that. So welcome again.
Thank you so much.
So as you know, I've invited 5 life coaches and thought leaders around the country to share their life lessons, and in hopes that their stories will highlight their insightful voice, and that in turn will help others realize the insight they have within themselves, so they can, like your mantra says, lead the life they most want to live.
Absolutely.
So I think we can do that in 3 questions.
Okay.
So let's just get started. So the first question is, if you had the opportunity to get one message to everyone in the world, what would that one message be?
I would say that the message goes along with my company's mantra, which is that you have to create the life that you desire to live. When it comes down to it, it is my core belief that ultimately, while, I myself, I have to identify that I'm a Christian, I believe in God. But even with having that belief, I recognize that me as an individual, you as an individual, we have a personal responsibility to not only decide what the life is that we want to live, but also to create it. I think that God and even other people, they can provide us with support, they can provide us with guidance, but ultimately they cannot do the work for us. So if there's any message that I want to share, it is that you have the responsibility to not only decide the life that you want to live, but to also get about the business of making that life a reality.
Yes, I love that. I love that. The second question, I mean, as I said before, we could go on that response alone because I got some things going on, but we're going to make this short and digestible for everybody who's watching. So the second question is thinking about the most challenging moment of your life, and you can share the challenging moment if you want, but you don't have to. I really want to just focus on what is the lesson that you learned from it.
The lesson. Well, as you mentioned in my bio, I grew up in the house of a reverend. I'm a PK. And
I am too.
Are you?
I am.
Really?
I am.
We
My dad.
are special people.
Oh, I think we are. Yes, my dad is a reverend, and my brother, who's part of this video series, is being interviewed, and he's a minister there at the
Really?
church. Yeah, yeah.
You ever consider going into it?
I have not. Who knows if that will happen, but right now I have not. But you know what? This is about you.
Right.
So you were telling me that you grew up in this house where you're a PK, preacher's kid, for those
Yes.
people who don't know what that initial
Yes,
is.
just kidding.
No.
And so I grew up in that environment, and growing up in that environment, while my definitely pushed me really hard to believe that I could do all things through the power that was resonating within me, that power being God. One thing that I chose, one mindset that I had growing up that I think a lot of other people have who share that faith, was that I put a great deal of responsibility on God. You know, I jokingly would say that, you know, I used to think of God as sort of my cosmic sugar daddy, where whenever I needed, I would pray and ask for it. If ever there was an issue, I would pray and ask to have it fixed. If ever there was a need, I would pray for it. And the biggest challenge that I ever faced in my life was when I had, I guess you will call it a paradigm shift, a theological shift in how I viewed the world, and more importantly, how I viewed the power of that presence that's greater than ourselves. And the challenge came in like this. I realized at a certain point that the difference between the people who I had in my life who were actually living the life that they wanted to live and the people who were still praying for the life that they wanted to live was that the people who were living the life that they wanted were actively taking responsibility for their own ability to create that life. And I'll tell you that that was the biggest challenge for me because it's a paradigm shift. How do you go from going from being a little boy and being taught that everything you get will be through the power of God, it'll be through God's will, it'll be through this presence that people almost make sound like it's outside of you. You know, when you make a request, you gotta hope that it comes true.
Right.
You know what I mean? So going from believing that my whole life to now having to accept that it's my responsibility to create it. I felt like the weight of the world was on my shoulders at that point because it's like I felt like at one point, anything I want, someone else will do the work for me. And now I'm being told and understood that no, anything that I want, I can have, but I've got to do the work. And it may be hard work, it may be long work. Yeah. And that was a big challenge for me. And so the lesson that I got out of that was the lesson that I share through my platform now, which is that you're responsible for creating the life that you want to live. Like I said, it felt like the weight of the world was on my shoulders at first, but now it is probably the most empowering part of my own personal mindset that guides me through my life, because now I accept that anything that I want, anything that you want is possible if you're willing to do the work to create it.
Yes, I love that. You know, oh gosh, Malcolm, we could talk forever because I'll just say this really quick. You know, when you were talking about how being brought up that God was this cosmic force, which I think is exactly what people think, that God is out there, up there, and that he's not really within you, then that is really hard to understand how you're able to move forward alone. When you realize that God is a part of you, that is when that shift changes.
Absolutely.
There's a song that Edwin Hawkins wrote. It says, "No, it's not I, but it's the Christ that lives inside of me."
Yes.
So he becomes a real partner whenever you're moving forward in life. So I love that. I love that. Great lesson to learn.
And let me say this real fast. That's actually the reason why the name of my business is the Co-Creation Company, because I believe that we're co-creators with that presence.
Yeah.
So that's
great.
That's actually how the name came into being.
Oh, it's great. That's fantastic. So the